Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. So let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that absolute agonizing sting when you make what feels like a perfectly timed trading decision, only to watch the market seemingly single you out and move in the exact opposite direction? It's a universal, honestly painful experience that practically every trader has endured at some point. You do your research, the trend looks so obvious, you make your move, and instantly you're underwater. Well, today we're going to dissect exactly why that happens, and I promise you, by the end of this, you are going to view the market through a completely different lens. Okay, let's dive right in with a question that literally haunts every investor, whether you're trading crypto, stocks, forex, you name it. Why does the market always seem to delight in disappointing the majority? Seriously, think about it. When everyone is 100% sure something is going up, it crashes. When everyone is terrified, it rallies. It feels incredibly personal, almost like the market is actively watching your screen, just waiting for you to click buy so it can dump. But what if I told you this isn't bad luck at all? It's actually a mechanical guarantee. You know the exact feeling we're talking about here. Everyone is screaming with extreme optimism, rockets are flying to the moon, social media is totally flooded with target prices that are just pure fantasy. But right at that moment of maximum financial jubilation, when you finally give into the FOMO and buy at the very top, reality hits. The price suddenly plummets like a cruel joke. That visceral, intense, emotional roller coaster is basically the defining characteristic of retail trading. Let's contrast two completely opposite scenarios because they represent the exact inverse of what logic tells us should happen. On one hand, you have peak confidence. The news is universally positive, the crowd is absolutely certain the price will keep rising. And the result? A sharp, violent drop. On the other hand, you have extreme panic. The headlines are screaming about recessions, everyone is panic selling in absolute terror. And what happens? The market quietly, almost invisibly forms a bottom before launching into a massive recovery. It is so incredibly easy to take this personally. I mean, we've all been there, but let's strip the emotion out of it for a second. The harsh clinical truth is simply this. The market has no emotions. It doesn't hate you, it's not some malicious, conscious entity out to get you, and it certainly doesn't care about your hopes, your dreams, or where you put your stop loss. So if the market isn't driven by malice, what is driving it? The answer is liquidity. Think of liquidity as the vital mechanical fuel that the market constantly seeks out in order to function. In really simple terms, for every buyer, there must be a seller, period. For a market to move massive amounts of money, which is exactly what big institutions do, they need an enormous amount of people willing to take the opposite side of their trade. They literally need fuel. Think about the bottleneck of a crowd all rushing a single door. That perfectly captures the concept of exhausted fuel. When the crowd all shares the exact same belief, liquidity bottlenecks at a single exit. If everyone is rushing to do the exact same thing at the exact same time, the system jams up. The fuel runs out because everyone is already fully committed to one side of the room. Let's break down the brutal logic of how this actually plays out in real time. Step 1, everyone expects a rise because the news is great. Step 2, because of this expectation, buy positions are fully opened by the crowd in advance. Step 3, well, because everyone who wants to buy has already bought, there are absolutely no new buyers remaining on the sidelines. The fuel is just gone. And step 4 is the inevitable result. With no one left to push the price higher, just an incredibly tiny amount of selling pressure will trigger a rapid crash. The floor simply falls out. All right, moving on to part 1, market positioning, or where the crowd stands. This right here is the core technical concept that separates the novices from the seasoned professionals. Positioning is a term you hear thrown around a lot, right? But what does it actually mean? Well, it reflects exactly where the market currently stands, who holds what positions, and crucially, what is the concentration of those bets before a major event or news story even arrives. Understanding positioning is often way more important than knowing whether the actual news is objectively good or bad. This brings us to a super counterintuitive reality we call the good news trap. Have you ever seen a company announce record profits and the stock immediately kinks? Here's why. The crowd strongly anticipates the positive news. The majority buys in advance, heavily positioning themselves for a spike. Then, the good news is officially released. It hits the wire. But instead of going up, the market drops. It drops simply because it has run out of new buyers. The expectation was already fully priced into the market through the crowd's positioning. Crazy, right? Which leads us to part 2, peaks and valleys and hunting safe zones. We're going to look at why these zones always seem to get violated right before the market goes in the direction you originally predicted. We've all experienced this kind of dramatic chart break, and it really anchors why the market seemingly hunts down your safe zones. You set your trade up perfectly, you place your safety net just below a strong level of support, and then, violently, the price sweeps past that critical line, knocks you out of the trade, and then instantly reverses back in your direction. It is unbelievably frustrating. But here is the real climax of the trap. Those chart sweeps, they happen for a very specific reason. Stop losses are giant pools of the exact liquidity the market craves. Remember, large institutional capital needs massive fuel to enter their positions. So where do they find that fuel? Right above the obvious peaks and right below the obvious valleys. These critical chart areas are hunted precisely because they're absolutely packed with the crowd's stop losses and pending orders. Basically, your safety net is their entry ticket. So let's quickly summarize the reality of market flow so we can really lock this concept in. Number 1, the market doesn't actively try to disappoint you. Number 2, it simply follows the mechanical needs of large capital. Number 3, large capital requires massive, concentrated liquidity to move without causing huge price slippage. And number 4, the crowd predictably provides this exact liquidity by acting identically and placing their orders in the exact same obvious places. Okay, part 3, the survival lesson, thinking independently. Now that we understand the actual mechanics, this is the absolutely critical rule for your trading survival moving forward. If you want to survive, you've got to cultivate the mindset of the lone sheep calmly walking against a massive frantic flock. Independent thinking is literally your only defense against becoming the market's fuel. When you feel that overwhelming urge to do exactly what everyone else is doing, that is the exact moment you need to hit pause and ask yourself, who is on the other side of this trade? I want to end this explainer with a provocative, lingering thought directly from our source material that just absolutely stuck with me. The most dangerous thing is not the market going against you. It is that you are standing on the same side as too many other people without realizing it. So the next time you enter the market, take a look around. Are you part of the flock, providing liquidity? Or are you the one stepping aside? Think deeply about your market alignment and use these visual models to stay safe out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep learning.